Welcome to Crayola Creativity Week. Today's theme is Keys to Kindness. Our special guest is Winslow Fegley. Welcome, Winslow. We're excited that you'll be talking to us about kindness and self-expression through the arts.
Hi, Diana.
Winslow, please introduce yourself and tell our viewers what inspired you to get into acting.
Hi, I'm Winslow Fegley, and I played Josh Prim in the movie Lyle Lyle Crocodile. And I guess I really got into acting from a really young age because my family is very art-oriented, and they all are actors. So I come from a family of actors, so they were able to show me the ropes and show me, how to do all that stuff. And it can be really difficult sometimes to do that and try and get all your schoolwork done and all doing all that stuff at the same time. But I think I find time naturally to just do the stuff that I really love to do. And so I find time to do art and to draw and to paint and spending time with friends and family. I guess it just all naturally bleeds through for me.
Winslow, in the book and in the movie, Lyle doesn't talk. Instead, he sings to share what he's thinking and feeling. Why is self-expression important for all kids?
At least for me, I'm the happiest when I'm being myself. I'm the happiest when I'm doing the things that I love to do. It's really awesome that through the story, Lyle and Josh both really grow together. Josh, my character, he really starts off as being really uptight and really, he's not very confident, and he really learns throughout the film that he can be himself and he can love himself. And I think that that's really, really an important message. What's so beautiful about art and creativity is that there's so many different ways that you can express that, and you can express yourself through art. You can really, you can dance, you can sing, you can do all of these beautiful things. And it's what I think makes it so beautiful.
Winslow, you didn't wait until you were an adult to follow your dreams. At age 13, you already have a creative career, working alongside many other creative people. What advice do you have for kids as they consider their future careers?
So having a career at a really young age it's really awesome. I really love being able to do that. And of course, there is a lot of work and effort that you have to put into that, but I really love that. I love being able to work together with people. And I think that what a lot of people don't really realize about the film industry and is that really when you really look into it, there's hundreds of people who are all working to create this final product. So many different careers and departments, people who are doing their hair, people who are doing special effects makeup, and stunt people, and it's crazy, and they're all doing their own creative thing. And I think that that's really awesome. And what's also really important throughout making a movie or working on any big project is collaboration. Because if you had all of these people doing their own departments and they're not communicating with each other, they wouldn't be able to create a one story.
Now we have a special treat. Winslow's co-stars from the film, Shawn Mendes and Javier Bardem, alongside the film's directors Josh Gordon and Will Speck, are going to read the book The House on East 88th Street, which inspired the movie Lyle Lyle Crocodile. Take it away, friends.
Hi, everyone. I'm Shawn Mendes, and welcome to Storytime.
I am Javier Bardem, and today I'm going to read The House on East 88th Street. This is the house on East 88th Street. It is empty now, but it won't be for long. Strange sounds come from the house. Can you hear them? Listen. Oh. It began one sunny morning when the citywide storage and moving company truck pulled up to the house on East 80th Street.
It was a trying day for everyone. Mrs. Prim just couldn't decide where to put the piano. And Mr. Prim's favorite pipe, was accidentally packed away in one of dozens of cartons lying around. Swish, swash, splash, swoosh. Loudly and clearly, the sounds now rumbled through the house. It's only a little thunder, Mrs. Prim assured everyone. When a citywide storage and moving man carried in their potted pistachio tree, everyone rejoiced. The truck was at last empty. The movers wished them well and hurried off to their next job for the day.
Now I'm going to prepare our lunch, announced Mrs. Prim. But first I want to go upstairs and wash these grimy hands. Swish, swash, splash, swoosh. A puzzled Mrs. Prim stopped to listen. By and by, her ears directed her to the bathroom door. What can it be, she asked herself as she opened the door.
What she saw made her slam it quickly shut. Mrs. Prim knew she was going to scream and just waited for it to happen. But she couldn't scream. She could scarcely even talk. The most Mrs. Prim was able to manage was the sharp, hoarse whisper of a voice which she used to call Mr. Prim. "Joseph," she said, "there's a crocodile in our bathtub."
There's a crocodile in the house!
The next moment found them flying off in different directions. "Help! Help!" Mrs. Prim cried out as she struggled with a window stuck with fresh paint. "Operator! Operator!" Mr. Prim shouted into the telephone, and then he remembered that it was not yet connected. Joshua, who heard everything, raced to the front door to be greeted there by an oddly dressed man who handed him a note.
Crocodile!
May I wish you a good day, sir.
"This will explain everything about the crocodile," said the man, leaving quietly but swiftly.
Mr. Prim, read the note. Please be kind to my crocodile. He's the most gentle of creatures and will not do harm to a flea. He must have tender, loving care, for he is an artist and can perform many good tricks. Perhaps he will perform some for you. I shall return. Cordially, Hector P. Valenti, star of stage and screen. P.S. He will only eat Turkish caviar. P.P.S. His name is Lyle. "Turkish caviar indeed," exclaimed Mrs. Prim. "Oh, to think this could happen on East 80th Street. Whatever will we do with him?"
Suddenly, before anyone could think of a worthy answer, there was Lyle. And just as suddenly, he got hold of a ball that had been lying among Joshua's belongings and began to balance it on his nose and roll it down the notches of his spine. Now he was walking on his front feet and taking flying leaps. Now he was twirling Joshua's hoop, doing it so expertly that the Prims just had to clap their hands and laugh. Lyle bowed appreciatively. He had won his way into their hearts and into their new home.
"Every home should have a crocodile," said Mrs. Prim one day. "Lyle is one of the family now. He loves helping out with chores. He won't allow anyone else to carry out old newspapers or take in the milk. He folds towels, feeds the bird, and when he sets the table, there is always a surprise. I had only to show him once how to make up a bed."
People everywhere stop to talk with him. They say he's the most nicest crocodile they ever met. Lyle likes to play in the park. He always goes once around in the pony cart.
And now he has learned to eat something besides Turkish caviar.
I'm not sure if that's gonna taste out. They're amazing.
Lyle is a good sport. Everyone wants to play with him.
He's wonderful company. We take him everywhere. Just give him his Turkish caviar and his bed of warm water, and he's happy as a bird.
One day, a brass band paraded past the house on East 88th Street. The Prim family rushed to the window to watch. They called for Lyle, but there was no answer. "Look," someone pointed out, "it's Lyle. He's in the parade." There was Lyle doing his specialty of somersault, flying leaps, walking on front feet, and taking bows, just as he did the first day they laid eyes on him. The people watching cheered him on, while Lyle smiled back at them and blew kisses. A photographer was on hand to take pictures. The next day, Lyle was famous. The telephone rang continually, and bundles of mail were dropped by the door. One letter was from someone Lyle knew particularly well. Mr. Prim read it.
Just a few words to say, I shall return. Cordially, Hector P. Valenti, star of stage and screen. P.S. Very soon. P.P.S. To fetch my crocodile.
Several days later, Miss Prim and Lyle were in the kitchen shelling peas when they heard a knocking at the door. It was Hector P. Valenti, star of stage and screen. I have come for Lyle, announced Signor Valenti.
You can't have Lyle, cried Mrs. Prim. He is very happy living here, and we love him dearly. Lyle must be returned to me, insisted Signor Valenti. Was it not I who raised him from young crocodilehood? Was it not I who taught him his bag of tricks? We have appeared together on stages the world over. But then why did you leave him alone in a strange house? Asked Mrs. Prim. Because, answered Signor Valenti, I could no longer afford to pay for his Turkish caviar. But now Lyle is famous, and we shall be very rich. Mrs. Prim was saddened, but she knew Lyle properly belonged to Signor Valenti, and she had to let him go. It was a tearful parting for everyone.
Signor Valenti had big plans for Lyle. They were to travel far and wide, stay in many hotels,
where sometimes the tubs were too big and other times too small or too crowded.
Signor Valenti did what he could to coax a smile from Lyle. He tried making funny faces at him. He stood on his head. He tickled his toes and told him uproarious stories that in happier days would have had Lyle doubled over with laughter. But Lyle could not laugh, nor could he make people laugh. He made them cry instead. One night in Paris, he made an entire audience cry. The theater manager was furious and ordered them off his stage.
Meanwhile, at the house on East 88th Street, Miss Prim went about her work without her usual bright smile, and deep sighs could be heard coming from behind the newspaper Mr. Prim was reading. Every morning, Joshua anxiously awaited the arrival of the mailman in hope of receiving word from Lyle. One morning, a letter did come. He knew the handwriting very well.
Just a few words to say, we shall return. Cordially, Hector P. Valenti, former star of stage and screen. P.S. I am sick of crocodiles. P.P.S. and the tears of crocodiles.
Not too many days after, the Prims were delighted to find Hector P. Valenti and Lyle at their door. Here, take him back, said Signor Valenti. He is no good. He will never make anyone laugh again. But Signor Valenti was very much mistaken. Everyone laughed, and laughed, and laughed. And in the end, so did Signor Valenti.
So now, if you should happen to be walking past the house on East 88th Street, and if you should happen to hear sounds that go, don't be surprised. It's only Lyle. Lyle the crocodile.
Wow, what a great story. Winslow, what is the main message you would like kids to take away from Lyle Crocodile?
I really hope that when kids watch this movie, they're able to look at Josh's and Lyle's journey through the film, and just look at how they really came out of their shells. And they, Josh really started off as a really shy kid who was not confident in who he was, and then through the film, he really learned that he didn't really have to care what other people thought of him, and he could just be himself and love himself. And I think that's a really important message.
Winslow, what was it like to film with your co-star being an animated crocodile?
It was pretty crazy. It was definitely different from a lot of stuff that I've done, but it was great because there was actually, what a lot of people don't realize is that there was actually a real human, a real person. His name was Ben Palacios, and he was basically wearing a crocodile suit. Didn't really look like a crocodile yet, but he had a bunch of sensors and stuff on him that tracked all his movements, and then he wore this wire helmet that was the real size of a crocodile head, and then it had a bunch of cameras that were monitoring his face and his emotions. And so the editors then, when they were finishing up the movie, they were able to build on top of that. And so basically everything you see Lyle do, all of his facial expressions, that's all him, which I think is really, really cool. In my mind, I'm thinking, I picture when I see Lyle, I see Ben, right? Because I spent all this time filming with him. But it's so awesome when I got to watch it with Sean's voice. It really adds this whole nother layer to the character, which was really, really awesome. And I think it turned out really good.
Winslow, Lyle Crocodile is a story about kindness, confidence, and embracing change. The story is also filled with many unexpected friendships. Please describe some of them. Then draw an unexpected friendship scene.
There's definitely a lot of unexpected friendships in this movie. Of course, normally no one really befriends a crocodile, so it's pretty unexpected. So I'm gonna start with Lyle's. I always like to start with the head when I'm drawing. Those are his little eye things. Then he's got a little snout, and that comes over this way. It curves up like that. I'm gonna make him happy. He's a happy little Lyle. Okay. And I can't forget his little nose. And then he's got his cute little eyes. I want to make his scarf. And of course, you can have a Lyle without a scarf. And the scarf sort of just wraps around his body. There you go. Okay, that's pretty good. And then I'm gonna add some red there in his scarf. Can't forget Loretta, of course. You can't forget it. So I guess he's just gonna be. I'm gonna have him holding her, because I just feel like that's what would be going on. Put her head over here. That's where she's got those ears, and she's sleeping in his arms there. And she's sleeping in his arms in the park. And I really love his little hands because I think they're really funny. So I'm gonna add those. And his arm's gonna come around like that, like he's holding her. There you go. Well, that's pretty good. And then I'm gonna just clean it up a little bit. Add some more color. Give him some more green, of course. I remember, guys, if yours doesn't look quite like mine, that's obviously okay. You guys should use your own imagination, Make your own little drawing. And we got Loretta in here. And she's pretty gray. So we're gonna just do a little light shade. Black there. Maybe we'll add some paws. So she got little paws. And so that's my drawing. That's my little sketch of Lyle and Loretta.
Winslow, there was a great scene in the story where Lyle helps Mrs. Prim realize that plans can be modified and change can make things better. Please draw an example of Rip Up the Recipe.
Ripping up the recipe. How do I show that? Okay, so I guess it's set in the kitchen. I'm gonna start with. I'm gonna do like a bowl. A little pot or a bowl or something. It's got stuff in it. I'm gonna add some stuff flying out. Okay. And I'm gonna add some more just random stuff flying all over the place. Cause that's kind of how it is in the movie. I'm gonna do a little table here. Yeah. Got a little kitchen table going on. So now we got a little table. I'll put some stuff on there. Add a little sugar daddy. I might add a cake flying, actually. I'm gonna make a flying cake. Alright, so right now, I'm just adding some detail, adding some shading all around the drawing. But you can add as much detail as you want. Make sure to obviously keep it your own. Do whatever style you want to. Do whatever makes you happy. Whatever floats your boat. So I'll add some just exploding everywhere. Some lines to emphasize that. And I think this musical number is really one of my favorites in the movie. I really love this message that this song brings along. When you really watch the movie, Mrs. Prim, she's always doing everything by the book, and how she always thinks everything has to be. But sometimes you just gotta relax, wing it, not be so uptight all the time. And I think that's a really cool message. And then you know what? I'm gonna do a little Lyle over here. I'm gonna do mine different from the last time I did it, because I really like the way he looks in the book. I think that's really what's so awesome about art. You can show a lot of different things, through a lot of different ways. I'm gonna take my time making this little Lyle here. You can take as much time as you want. Obviously, with this little drawing, these little spikies on his back, and make his arms up in the air.
Winslow, thank you for demonstrating how kids can embrace the unexpected joys of making new friends and ripping up the recipe.
Thank you, Diana, and thanks for everyone who's watching, too.
We want to thank Winslow for sharing insights about his creative career and inspiring us to create art. And we thank all the kids who have joined us today from around the world. Parents and educators, be sure to check out more creative ideas at Crayola.com/creativityweek. And remember to share your kids' artwork. Post it on social media using #Crayola Creativity Week for a chance to win today's amazing giveaway.